All right, let's jump straight into this explainer because we really need to unpack a critical and honestly pretty harsh reality about enterprise software that most companies just end up learning the hard way. You know the drill, right? We spend months and, frankly, way too much coffee focusing on the build-up and the launch of a new system. It's like you buy the house, hand over the keys, and pop the champagne. But wait a minute, what about the day after?
Seriously, it's a genuine question you have to ask yourself. What actually happens the day after your software goes live? A ton of organizations just assume that a successful go-live is the finish line. But the truth is that a platform that isn't actively maintained almost immediately begins to suffer from what we call software rot. It starts to accumulate all these unused licenses as your team changes over time, stale workflows just get completely bypassed by users, and before you know it, your team is right back to running the entire department on some rogue shadow spreadsheet. It's crazy, but the hidden costs of unmaintained software can literally erase your entire return on investment. So today, we're looking at a structured roadmap to solve that exact post-launch problem, specifically focusing on the 3 tiers of support from FindErnest. We'll be looking at 1. Beyond the go-live. 2. Tier 1 essential support. 3. Tier 2 professional services. 4. Tier 3 enterprise solutions. And finally, number 5. Choosing your right fit.
Okay, Section 1. Beyond the go-live. Let's see how a go-live is really just the starting line for your software ecosystem.
Now, to fully understand how to protect your investment, we are looking at the specific framework used by FindErnest. They're an official Zoho managed services partner, which means they don't just, install the software and walk away. They manage the entire life cycle of a Zoho deployment. They use a continuous improvement framework. The whole goal here is to prevent configuration drift. And if you're not familiar, that's that subtle, gradual shift where your software setup just drifts further and further away from your actual day-to-day business processes.
In this quote right here, it perfectly captures their core philosophy. We don't stop at implementation. We continuously optimize the Zoho environment to maximize ROI and user adoption. They're essentially treating your Zoho environment as a living, breathing organism, rather than just some static product collecting dust on a virtual shelf. Because as Zoho ships out new capabilities, you want those features to actually be rolled out and used, not just left sitting there ignored, right?
Moving on to Section 2, Tier 1 essential support. This is all about basic administration. You really need to ask yourself, does your team just need basic life support for your software or something more?
So this baseline tier is perfectly tailored for small and growing businesses that are really just finding their footing. Listen, you don't need a massive architectural overhaul every single week at this stage. You just need reliability. You need absolute confidence that if something breaks, someone is there to fix it immediately.
The day-to-day coverage here includes incident management, user support, and basic administration. But I gotta tell you, the real secret weapon in this tier is the monthly health check. These checks are designed specifically to catch that configuration drift we talked about and any version-related hiccups super early. Instead of just sitting around waiting for a workflow to completely break down, FindErnest is actively monitoring the system's health. They make sure your foundation stays rock solid as you grow.
Now, this is really interesting because you can see how things naturally escalate as a business matures. We're moving from a very reactive troubleshooting approach with those monthly checks on the basic tier over to a highly strategic partnership with a dedicated consultant and quarterly reviews on the next level. We're talking about upgrading from a simple support vendor to a real, proactive partnership. Which brings us to Section 3, Tier 2, Professional Services. This is all about mid-market growth. Let's dive into the walk phase of our progression. This tier explicitly targets mid-market businesses. Look, at this stage, your business is changing fast, right? You've got new departments popping up, new revenue streams, and way more complex reporting requirements. The training wheels are officially off. You need your Zoho ecosystem to dynamically evolve right alongside your operations, not constantly lag 3 steps behind them. The jump in value here is pretty massive. You aren't just getting access to a help desk anymore. You get a dedicated Zoho consultant who actually knows your specific business inside and out. They are actively providing workflow enhancements and diving deep into your reporting and analytics. And those quarterly business reviews, absolutely vital. That is where FindErnest sits down with your leadership team every 90 days to realign the platform with your changing needs. It ensures your tech strategy perfectly matches your operational goals. But hey, what happens when you scale even further, way beyond the mid-market? Notice the massive leap in governance here? We're transitioning from a dedicated consultant and quarterly reviews straight into having a full solution architect and rigorous executive reporting.
The level of governance you need just changes completely once you hit that true enterprise scale.
And that brings us to Section 4, Tier 3, Enterprise Solutions, Scale and Governance. Welcome to the run phase.
This is Enterprise Managed Services. It is purpose-built from the ground up for large enterprises and global capability centers, or GCCs. When you're operating at this massive scale, often across multiple countries and totally different regulatory environments, governance and compliance are absolutely non-negotiable. Seriously, a broken workflow here doesn't just mean a delayed email. It could mean a major compliance violation or totally disrupting international teams.
At this level, you're getting a dedicated customer success manager and direct access to a solution architect. But the absolute crown jewel of this entire tier, it's the continuous optimization. Because as your usage explodes across multi-region deployments, FindErnest is in there actively tuning workflows, building really complex automations, and refining your executive reporting. And they do all of this, the whole shebang, while ensuring that any updates from Zoho never, ever break your existing internal controls. It's just a highly sophisticated layer of both protection and performance.
All right, Section 5, choosing your right fit. Let's match your maturity to the right plan.
Let's put all the pieces of the puzzle together right here. If you're a small business, your rhythm is going to be those monthly checks on the essential tier to just ensure stability. As you hit the mid-market, you level up to the professional tier, where you'll rely on a dedicated consultant and quarterly reviews to really scale out your workflows. And if you are a large enterprise or a GCC, you absolutely require the enterprise tier, leveraging that solution architect for continuous optimization across borders. It really is a clear, logical path of progression.
I want to leave you with this final, provocative thought. Which tier is going to drive your continuous improvement? Remember, software that isn't growing with you is literally working against you. Take a really hard look at your current software ecosystem today. Are you just accumulating unused licenses, or are you actively preventing software rot to guarantee a sustained ROI? Because the truth is, the day after you go live, that's when the real work actually begins. So choose your partnership level wisely.